Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Jai Shri Ram. Welcome to our next episode in our complete reading of Srimad Valmiki Ramayana. In the previous episode, we are discussing about various things that Sri Ramachandra is asking to Bharata. In that, we saw Dashavarga, we saw Panchavarga, we saw Traividya. Now Sri Ramachandra is talking about Vimshati Varga. So what he is saying, are you taking care of your Vimshati Varga properly? So who are these Vimshati Varga? These Vimshati Varga people are the ones with whom you should never make a compromise, with whom you should never make a deal, with whom you should always fight, with whom you should always put them under control. These are 20 types of enemies that Kamandhaka Niti Shastra says. So Sri Ramachandra, since he knows this Niti Shastra, he is quoting from there and he's saying, are you taking care of the Vimshati Varga? What are those 20 types of people with whom you don't make agreements, whom you always try to put under control? बालो वृद्धो दीर्घरोगी तथा ज्ञाति बहिष्कृतः भीरुको भीरुजनको लुब्धो लुब्धजनस्तथा विरक्तः प्रकृतिश्चैव विषयेष्वति शक्तिमान् अनेकचित्तमन्त्रश्च देवब्राह्मणनिन्दकः दैवोपहतकश्चैव दैवचिन्तक एव च दुर्भिक्षव्यसनोपेतः बलव्यसनसङ्कुलः आदेशस्थो बहुरिपिर्युक्तो कालेन यश्च सः सत्यधर्मव्यपेतश्च विंशतिः पुरुषाः अमी Etai sandhim na kurvita vigruhniyattu kevalam. Somebody who is a balaka, who is a kid, if the other king is a kid, you don't want to make an agreement with them because that king and the kingdom can always go back on that particular word and they can always put you in trouble. And in your real life also, when you are dealing with kids, don't make agreements. Instead, try to ensure that they are always in your control. And then old person, again, you never know. If you are making a deal with a person who is 90 years old, you never know when the person is going to leave the earth, and then what would happen to your agreement, what would the successor do. Always ensure that they don't control the whole policy of yours. Again, a person who is suffering with a long a disease for a long time, their mind would not be proper, or making all sorts of offers to them. No, that's not the thing that you want to do with them. And a person who is left by all his bandhus, all his relatives, never ever trust the person. If his own family is so against him, there is no point that you make a deal with him and he is going to honor it for you. And then never ever make a deal with a person whose character is innately suggesting to you that he is very fearful person, he is a very coward. Never make deals with them. And if a person is leading a group of people and the group of people are none in the group or most people in the group are cowards, never ever make a deal with them because you never know where they'll run away. Always win over them and keep them in control. Never make a deal with a person who is after saving a lot of money. He might make new deals through which your deal might just get junked, and again you'll have to make a new agreement. This is a laborious process. Never ever make deals with them. Again, if a person is leading an army of people who are extremely greedy for money, never make a deal with them. If a person is being insulted, if a king is being insulted by his own ministers, if the ministers do not have confidence in that particular king, the king's reign itself is short-lived. Hence, don't make any deals with them. A king who is always after comforts, who is always after materialistic things, never make a deal with that person. If a person can't stand by his word, if a person is very fickle-minded, never make a deal with that person. If a person always thinks new things on a daily basis but doesn't stick on to any one of them, please don't make any deal with that person. If a person is unnecessarily criticizing God, priests, and everyone on a daily basis, if a person is a universal critic and he keeps criticizing everything, don't make a deal with that person. Always keep them in your control. A person who has made too many mistakes, he is called as Daivopahata, means a person who has made too many mistakes, not just towards God, but towards a lot of people who love God, people who live pious lives. If a person has gone and troubled them a lot, nothing good is going to happen to that person. Hence, don't make any deals with that person. That person is called as Daivopahata. Then, don't make a deal with a person who is a Daiva Chintaka, means that fellow does not put any effort in his life and he always thinks that God is going to do everything for him. No, don't make any deals with that person. Don't make a deal with any person who is suffering from drought. If possible, go help them, get him on your side, or leave him alone, but never make a deal with a person who is having a drought in his kingdom, because that's not ethical at all, because he needs help, and that's not a time for you to go and make deals. A person who is given into vices, never make a deal with that person. A person or a king who doesn't live in his home kingdom, who always wants to go out of his kingdom, never make a deal with that person, never come to an agreement with that person, because he himself doesn't know the topography of his own country properly. If a person has got a lot of enemies, better stay away, or better try to control him, get him on your side, and make him follow you, but you never make a deal with that person. The person has got a lot of enemies, basically. Okay. And then a person who is constantly suffering setbacks, the mind again of that person would not be in the best of its shapes. Don't go making deals with them. If possible, help them, else win over them, and keep them by your side, than making deals, putting them in trouble, putting yourself in trouble. And lastly, a person who doesn't speak truth, a person who doesn't follow dharma, these 20 people, you are never supposed to make any sort of deal or sandhi or a treaty. It's always better that you face them head on. And as I told while we were discussing, always ensure that you exert your control or have them on your side, or you just go back and help them and not expect anything else. Then Sri Ramachandra is asking, are all the prakrutas in your life good? There again, what are the five types of prakriti? Amatya means the minister, the chief minister or the prime minister. Rashtra, the kingdom. Durga, the fortification. Dhanagara, which is your treasury. Danda, Danda is your par. So if your Koshagara is good, your Danda, your par also will work well. Then Mandala. So Sri Ramchandra is talking about Mandala, and you also see this Mandala theory being spoken by Chanakya as well later on. So a Mandala for a king who wants to increase his kingdom, who wants to extend the boundaries of his kingdom, is called as Vijigisha, and then he would encounter 11 types of kings around him. Who are those 11 types of people? Shatru, Mitra, Shatru, Mitra, Mitra, Shatru, Shatru, Mitra, Mitra, these five. And then Parnigraha, Akranda, Parnigraha Sara, Akranda Sara, and then Madhyastha. This is called as a Dwadasha Raja Mandala. So Sri Ramachandra is saying, are you taking care of this Dwadasha Raja Mandala also? And then he is also saying, are you taking care of Dviyoni Sandhi Vigraho? Whenever you need to fight, you need to take a call on it, and whenever you need to make truce, you need to take a call on it. Hope you are taking that properly. By this, we completed the discussion on one sloka, the sloka number 70. I'll just read out the sloka once again. We had to span across 2 episodes to understand this one sloka, but then that's the effort that we are trying to put in to understand, because Ramayana is a treasure trove for all of us. The slokas from 68 to 70, these 3 shlokas. दश पंचचतुर्वर्गान् सप्तवर्गं च तत्त्वतः अष्टवर्गं त्रिवर्गं च विद्यास्त्रिस्तस्य राघव इन्द्रियाणां जयं बुद्ध्वा षाड्गुण्यं दैवमानुषं कृत्यं विंशतिवर्गं च तथा प्रकृतिमण्डलं यात्रादण्डविधानं च द्वियोनि सन्धिविग्रहो कच्चिद्वेतान् महाप्राज्ञा यदा यथावध नुमन्यसे. So now we'll move on to the next sloka, which is mantribhistvam yadhodishtaih chaturбhi स्त्रिभिरेव च कच्चित् समस्यैर् अस्यैश्च mantram mantrese mitah. So Sri Ramachandra is asking, hope you are always discussing every decision that you take at least with 3 or 4 ministers. You might discuss with them by putting all of them together, or by sending each one of them to a separate room and you going and meeting with each of those. Hope you are doing these one-on-one discussions or these group discussions, and only then finally coming to the conclusions. Kaschitte safala vedah, kaschitte safala kriyah, kaschitte safala darah, kaschitte safalam srutam. The Vedas that you read, the works that you have started, your wife, and all the knowledge that you have, hope they are all bearing fruit. Kaschideshaiva te buddhir yadhokta mamaraghava ayushya cha isasya cha dharma kamartha samhita. O Bharata, I am wishing that your mind, your intellect is always there with dharmartha kamas, and hope your mind and intellect are working in a direction through which your reputation and your lifespan both are increasing. Yam vrittim vartate tato yam chana pripitamaha tam vrittim vartase kaschid yacha satpataka shubhaha. Hope you are walking in the right direction. Our father walked in a very correct way. Our grandfathers, our ancestors, they all went in the correct way of how to rule a kingdom. Oh Bharata, I hope you are also traveling in the same way. Kaschit swadu krutam bhojyam eko nasnapi raghava kaschidasam samanebhyo mitrebhya samprayachasi. Oh Bharata, hope you are not eating all the good food alone. Hope you are bringing your friends. Hope you are bringing your amatyas. Hope you are at least having a few people around you when you are having that meal, because it's a big papa if you eat any tasty stuff all alone. You are supposed to share it with multiple people. Rajatu dharmen hi palayitva mahamatir dandadhara prajanam avapya krusnam vasudam yathava ditaschuta swargamupaiti vidwan. Oh Bharata, a king who has got a good intellect, a king who is knowledgeable in many areas, he would get all the Rajya into his hand. He should be ruling the people by giving them enough comforts and also punishing them when they go wrong. And Yadha Shastra, the way Shastras have told us, he should be ruling the kingdom. That way, if you are ruling Bharata, when you rule and when you complete your rule, you would go to Swarga. This way, Sri Ramachandra has completed the entire questionnaire, the Kaschit Sarga. This is one Sarga, which is a very, very important Sarga in Srimad Valmiki Ramayana. And by God's grace, we were able to complete it today. In our next episode, we'll see Sri Ramachandra asking Bharata as to why he has come to the forest, and we'll also see Bharata's reply. Hope Lord Sri Ramachandra blesses us with the good fortune of going through all that. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. ओम सर्वं सुखी साई महाराज स्वामी चरणारविन्दार्पणमस्तु. स्वस्ति. जय श्री राम.